Oh, hi, Mark. How do you like the haircut? I promise this isn't the pinnacle of what it's capable of. Right now, the calyx on the front of my head are kind of like they're kind of like poofed up, and I look a little bit like, I don't know, like a member of the Lollipop Guild or something. I'm not a fan of it. My head's been in a hard hat all day. You be nice to me, um, or don't. Okay, so we left off every horror movie I've ever seen, by the way. Series of videos, I'm just going through every horror movie I've ever seen, and I'm briefly touching on my experiences, my memories, my thoughts about the films. So we left off at number 75. This will be 75 through 100. Um, and number 75 was Insidious Chapter 3. I went to go see this movie. I know that I talked about it briefly. I don't know if I talked about my first experience watching it, and that's probably because I don't remember it very well. Actually, do I even remember it at all? Probably not. Let's just move past that. Number 76, Paranormal Activity 1. Now, I believe it was Paranormal Activity 1. I could be wrong. But I think my first time watching Paranormal Activity 1 was I was over at a friend's house. I actually mentioned same friend when I was talking about Killer Clowns from Outer Space. It was very early, like 5th grade type of thing. And it was like the middle of the night. He had fallen asleep. And I was just up watching horror movies by myself. And Paranormal Activity happened to be the one that I put on. And I remember that I was just kind of drifting in and out of consciousness, and I was sweating bullets because not only was it pretty warm in the house at the time, but also I was scared shitless of this movie, and I kept on falling asleep, going into a nightmare, and then I'd be woken up by a loud part of the movie. It was fucked up. Um, so that was the first time watching Paranormal Activity. I like Paranormal Activity. I don't love it nowadays. It's just, they're all the same. All the Paranormal Activity movies are like exactly the same. They're just not that great. And then Paranormal Activity 2, we're about to get a little repetitive. Let me have a little drinky poo. Just a wee little drinky poo. Sorry. No, yeah, Paranormal Activity 2 is number 77. I don't remember. Like, all these movies blend together. That experience that I shared with one, it very well could have been literally any of the other Paranormal Activity movies. I don't know if it was one. Um, it's fine. It's a fine movie. Paranormal Activity 3, that's actually my favorite one of the bunch. I will say that one I dig quite a bit. And that's due to the whole cult angle. Cults freak me out, so I like that. Paranormal Activity 4, I remember I watched that at a different friend's house, actually. Nothing particularly interesting of note happened. Paranormal Activity, the marked ones, I remember just nothing. I don't have any interesting thoughts on that. The marked ones I do remember actually being very let down by. I believe I rented that, and I hated how it was so out there. It was so odd, and like halfway through, it almost felt like I don't know. It almost felt like superhero-ish or something, but with demons. A weird movie, the marked ones. Again, we're about to get really repetitive. Yeah, you okay? Okay, you're alright. Cerberus is just lugging around a bone. Come here. Oh, I've summoned the Bowser too. This is the wiener in question, by the way. It is. It's the wiener in question. Yes, sir. Bowser. Did you steal Cerberus's butt? He probably deserved it, didn't he? Alright, go on. Go on. Tail's gonna knock my phone down. Okay. We're about to get repetitive again. I apologize for nothing. Friday the 13th. Oh, I remember my first time watching Friday the 13th. I loved that. I love that memory. My brother and I, so when I was smaller, I would go over to my brother's house, my oldest brother, and we would sometimes watch movies together. Mostly I went over there to play his video games, and I feel bad about that now. Obviously, children are shitheads, but I should have actually been, spending time with my brother and trying to make memories and such instead of playing Grand Theft Auto San Andreas on his couch like a little fuckface. But one of the memories I did make was he and I watched Friday the 13th together for the first time. And I just remember watching it and being scared because like I hadn't watched that many horror movies, and he was like, are you scared over there? And I was like, no. And I was. And I remember being so engrossed by the whole Mrs. Voorhees thing, because I was like, is she crazy? Like, is she crazy, or is her dead son actually speaking to her? Obviously, I was a stupid little kid. The very obvious answer is no, she is crazy, but her dead son isn't actually dead because he's Jason, and Jason don't die, baby. Also, I forgot to address, the room has changed. See that? Split. The windowsill's visible now. My NECA figures are over there, and you can't see them because the couch is in the way. Isn't that crazy? And also, my camera's not that good, and there's a Breath of the Wild poster above the window. Yeah, crazy. I know. I'm the best at room design. You don't have to say it. Anyway, I remember after the film was done, I went to the bathroom. He lived in a 2-story apartment complex at the time. And I won't say that I wasn't terrified going to the bathroom in the dark upstairs alone. But yeah, that's pretty much my experience watching Friday the 13th Part 1 for the first time. Friday the 13th Part 2, I don't remember my first time watching it, but I do remember that I liked it, and I've liked it ever since. I quite enjoy Part 2. Friday the 13th Part 3. Now, I don't remember specifics, but I will tell you, we will tell them, huh? I will tell you, the Friday the 13th Part 3 is actually what kicked off my love for, like, gore and horror films. I loved the kills in Friday the 13th Part 3, even the first time I saw it. I adored it. I adored all of the gory kills. The harpoon to the eyeball was one that I especially loved, and one that is, to this day, one of my favorite horror kills of all time is in the end of the film, and it looks very cheesy, but I love it. In the end of the film, when Jason picks up Rick by the head, and he just crunches it. He just I wouldn't do that to you, would I? And he just crunches his head, and the eyeball flies out. And, yeah, I loved that kill. Always have. Still do. Friday the 13th Part 4, it's a good movie, don't remember. Friday the 13th Part 5, this movie I actually have a very cool piece of lore on. A very cool piece of Oh Hi Mark Reviews lore on. And that is that I actually know someone who was in Friday the 13th Part 5. Yeah, we do, don't we? You don't, but I do. You don't, but I do, motherfucker. Yeah. So, as a kid, I had this friend, I don't know if his name probably isn't a matter of public record. I guess I won't say my friend's name. But I had a friend, and his dad, his name was Robert. Now, that probably doesn't automatically tell you anything, because I don't actually think his acting credits are under Robert. I think his middle name is technically Robert, but the guy's name is John Robert Dixon. He plays Eddie in Friday the 13th, Part 5. The guy who gets the leather belt strap around the eyes and his head is crushed with the tightening. And that was actually my friend's dad. And I had no idea. But what's funny is I do remember watching it as a kid. And I saw it. This was probably 2 years after my friend moved away. 2 to 3 years after he moved away. And I was watching it and I was like, hold on. And I think I even remember my friend saying something, the friend that I was watching with the movie with. I think I even remember him saying something to the effect of, you don't know that guy. You don't know that guy. You're stupid. You don't... Yeah, fuck you. I did know that guy, you fucking nutsack. I did know that guy. But at the time, I think I just chalked it up realistically to my kid brain being dumb. Years later, when I was in 7th grade, I think, he came back from California to visit, and he told me that his dad was in a Friday the 13th movie, and I didn't even believe him, even though I remember having that thought. And then after he left, and I think it was just because, like, I didn't want to get taken for a ride. I didn't want, like, so, you know, like, I don't know. I didn't want to have the wool pulled over my eyes or something. I was such a big Friday the 13th fan. I didn't want to look stupid. But, yeah, lo and behold, after he left, I looked it up, and I was like, holy shit. His dad was in Friday the 13th Part 5. And that's very cool for me, because I don't live in California or anything. I live in Idaho, and we don't have... You don't just walk down the street and see a movie star around here. Not that he's a movie star. He's, you know, he was in a few things. And he wasn't in... It's not like he was in fucking Die Hard. Like, it was Friday the 13th Part 5 and a couple of soap operas. But that was the coolest thing in the world to me. Even though 5, it's never been one of my favorite Friday the 13th movies. That is a very, very cool core memory I have about that film. And he was actually in town a while ago too, earlier last year, and I went and I got a beer with him, a couple of beers, and I was like, hey dude, if your dad's in town, tell him to swing by my house. I have a box set I want him to autograph, and he never autographed my box set. He never came around, the fucker. Anyway, number 86, Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. Okay, so Jason Lives is my favorite Friday the 13th movie, period. Top 20 favorite horror movies of all time, maybe top 15. I don't remember my first time seeing it, but what I do remember, though, is I've watched this movie a lot. And that's because when... in high school, okay, I went through a very brief rough patch, and it had nothing to do with external circumstances. It was actually because of a medication I was taking for my ADHD, and it made me very emotionally volatile, where I would be very angry, or I would feel nothing at all, and then I would be very sad. And I at the time, I kind of thought it was depression. Like, I just chalked it up to I'm depressed. But it was more than just depression, because depression doesn't make you snap over the tiniest shit. And anyway, that lasted maybe 1 or 2 years. 1 or 2 years. Yeah, get that hand, get that arm. Anyway, and during that period, I had like 2 movies that made me feel very comfortable. Comfort movies, if you will. And I watched those a lot. Friday the 13th Part 6 and Killer Clowns from Outer Space. And yeah, those movies got the shit watched out of them. Friday the 13th Part 7. It's a fine movie. I don't love Part 7 at all by any means. Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. Unlike Part 7, I love Part 8. We love Part 8, don't we, Bowser? We love that goddamn movie with everything in our being. Yeah, everything in our beings. There are things about the movie I don't love. Kid Jason is really fucking dumb. And honestly, the whole movie is pretty fucking dumb. But that's kind of what I love about it. And I also love the way Jason looks in that movie. The yellowed hockey mask, the slime all over his body, like he's actually been sitting at the bottom of a lake for however many years. Adore the way Jason looks. And I love a lot about that movie, but we're trying to rip through these. 89, Jason Goes to Hell. I hate Jason Goes to Hell. Number 90, Jason X. Jason X is pretty sweet. Number 91, Freddy versus Jason. Man, we're doing a lot of Jason right now. I do really like Freddy vs. Jason. I used to love it a lot more than I do. I remember there was one friend I had, every time I would go over, we would either watch Friday the 13th Part 3, Freddy vs. Jason, or Friday the 13th, 2009. Because those were like the 3 Jason movies he had, and I loved them. Anyway, number 92, Friday the 13th, 2009, the remake. I don't remember the first time I saw it. I liked it a lot. I was, I believe, a teenage boy by the time I saw it, so all of the boobies were very well appreciated by me. Number 93 is Scream. Leave her alone. My mom and dad are gonna be so mad at me. You hit me with the phone, dick! Okay, I love Scream. Scream 1 is one of the best slasher movies of all time. But it's not a great slasher movie. It's a great horror movie. The slasher could use some work. But at this point, we know those movies aren't going to improve on the slasher element. There's been like 8 of the bitches at this point. The kills aren't very good. But I do love Scream 1. 94 is Scream 2. I like Scream 2 quite a bit. Scream 2 and 3 I saw for the first time because I had purchased a box set from a local thrift store that I asked my mom for, and they begged my mom for, and she obliged. This must have been when I was in my later teens, because she started allowing me to watch R-rated films a little bit. And yeah, Scream 2 is fun. 95, 11/11/11, The Prophecy. This movie I don't remember being very good at all. However, I do remember watching it on Halloween night for the first time, and that makes it kind of special, I guess, with my best friend. Number 96, 1408. 1408 is a great movie, and I don't know what else I want to say about 1408. It's a great movie, and if you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor and watch it. Probably one of the best PG-13 horror films ever made. Oh, that's right, John Cusack. John Cusack is amazing in that movie. I feel like that's why I put this down, because I wanted to talk about John Cusack. John Cusack is great in 1408. Fantastic. Anyone ever tells you otherwise, they're fucking lying. Number 97, 28 Days Later. I was never as big on 28 Days Later as most people. I find that I have that opinion usually towards fast-moving zombie things. I'm not as impressed by fast-moving zombies as a lot of people. I don't find them as fun. The gore effects tend to be a lot lessened in movies about fast zombies, and that's because they're typically just infected people, not zombies, and so they're not like rotting, shambling corpses. They're just people with an infection, and yeah, I don't usually love that. I do like 28 Days Later quite a bit. Number 98 is Anaconda. Oh boy, we're in for some bullshit for the last few. Number 98 is Anaconda. The little one just took a shit on the floor. That's really cool. Had to take him outside. Even though he was just outside, funny how that works. Huh. Well, funny how that works. It is. It's funny. Except it's not that funny. Dad's not laughing. No, he's not. He just isn't laughing. Okay, what are you getting into? What are you getting into? Okay. Number 98 is Anaconda. I don't fucking remember my first time watching Anaconda. It's not that great of a movie. Number 99, Anaconda's Hunt for the Blood Orchid. I actually do vaguely remember my first time watching Hunt for the Blood Orchid, and it's not because it's a great movie, because it's even worse than the first Anaconda. But I remember that I watched it, actually, man, I watched that movie very young. I watched it at the friend's house, the friend whose dad was in Friday the 13th Part 5. That's where I saw Anaconda Hunt for the Blood Orchid for the first time. Funnily enough, I think I recall his mom putting it on for us. Weird, but sure, man. We were like 5 years old. But, okay. But what I remember most about that movie, because I was so young, is the shot of the people walking in the Amazonian rainforest water, like the pond thing. You know, it's not a pond. A river? Is it a river? I don't know what that is. But in any case, and it's an overhead shot, and it shows them walking, and then right by their legs slithers this massive anaconda, and it's like slithering around them. That shot fucked me up for a little bit. Whenever I was in water, I would think about that. But other than that, I don't remember anything from my first time watching that. And speaking of not remembering anything from my first time watching it, number 100. Holy shit, man. Can you believe we're going to do a bunch more of these videos? Is Lake Placid versus Anaconda. I'm sure I saw it on the Sci-Fi Channel as a wee lad. Pretty sure it sucked, but I was probably also entertained by it. I probably also own it on DVD somewhere. Don't you judge me. Okay, I'll see you next time. Maybe, hopefully. Fingers crossed.